Hello, everyone. Welcome to Novel Nights. I'm Victoria.
And I'm Laura.
And we're missing our third. Francesca is not here with us. She is traveling. More on that soon. But today we're super excited to be talking about all things college books, secret societies, and just all the vibes. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, continue watching, but also let us know in the comments what are some of your favorite college books set at colleges, secret societies, and just all the good things. So again, let us know in the comments your favorite books and stay tuned.
I'm Francesca.
I'm Victoria.
I'm Laura.
And welcome to Novel Nights. Hey everyone! Welcome to Novel Nights. We are here every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time for a fun, just bookish chat and also just sharing what's new for the week, updates and all the good things. Now, this week we're excited to talk about college books and books with secret societies. So again, if you love those college books, secret society books, let us know in the comments. Share your favorite recommendations. We'd love to hear from you. So whether you're watching live or the replay crew, again, share your thoughts in the comments. Now, as you might notice, if you're a regular Novel Nights watcher, we're missing our friend Francesca. We're missing our third. We're the resident trio for this show. We have friends pop in from time to time, but yeah, we're missing Francesca. She is currently traveling. However, she did a little video for you all. So you'll still get Francesca's book recommendations on college books and secret societies. But for now, it's just Laura and I live. But Laura, let's chat about what's new this week before we get into the books. So what's been new with you? What have you been doing? What's going on?
So I joined a yoga studio. I joined my local yoga studio, which I've been going to class. And I also made my local friend join the yoga studio. So I have a friend to go with. So it's kind of like fun. I've been going to restorative yoga and hot yoga. And it's just been fun just to calm myself down, just to breathe in, breathe out, and just find some stretching, which is my body needs. I know, like in my 40s now, my body needs to stretch more than back in the day. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's something I'm experiencing too. So I've been going to boot camp. I actually celebrated my 1 year of going to boot camp. So like the first 6 months, I was just getting back into it because I have not moved my body much. Like I'll do the occasional walk, but I haven't really done anything physical and super active in, it was like 4 years. At the time, because I think it was like late 2019, I had slowed down, and then COVID, and then I was just in a funk. So anyway, I just celebrated my 1 year of doing boot camp. The first 6 months, I was probably going like 2 days a week, 3 days a week on a really good week. But I have to say the other 6 months, I've really been getting in the work. So I was going like 4 or 5 days a week. Some weeks I'd have 6, but the average for sure would be like 5. So yeah, I'm really proud of myself. I did hurt my knee, but I've been resting and I've exercised last week and this week I've been icing it and it's been good. So on the physical front, I'm happy about that because it makes me feel good. I'm baking. So baking is new. I'm really excited to get back into writing a Tuesday newsletter. So I'm doing that exclusively on Substack. So that's coming in September, which I'm really happy about. But I've done a lot of work on the back end. So I think a lot of back end work, full reading guide work, a lot of back end stuff. I mean, you're working on something for Kindle too, right?
Yeah, I'm working on the full reading guide for Kindle Unlimited. So I've been writing out Kindle Unlimited books from fall, from Gilmore Girl vibes to You Got Mail, because God bless, this is like epic fall. But looking for Kindle Unlimited books available. So it's been vetting like what works, what doesn't work. There'll be some thrillers because God bless, we love like some psychological, unpredictable, addictive thrillers. And so it's been fun just to read a lot, and not just read, but also source a lot and trying to figure out like which ones are the winners. Because as we know, Kindle Unlimited is a big library. There's like millions of books out there, but some books are not so good. Some books are great, and some books are like, should I read this or not? So I'm doing the work for you.
Yes. So I'm really excited for Laura's guide. I also have my fall reading guide coming. So yeah, we even have a fall guide week for Novel Night. So you'll be hearing all about it. So again, hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, so you're the first to know when we go live, but also so that you can get updated on our fall reading guides. It promises to be really, really good. But okay, so we are going to get into campus novels, secret societies. We did campus novels last week. So just in case you're looking for campus novels, go see last week's Novel Nights. We did that. But today we're focusing on books set in college and secret societies. Now, I'm going to go first, and I have to tell you guys, I went deep on the secret society bit. So yeah, those are the books I'll be sharing. So the first one I'm sharing is, I have to go with the OG first, right? Let's just get the OG out the way. And the OG is Donna Tartt's, right? The Secret History. I think everyone has heard about this book at some point or another, whether you've read the book or maybe you don't know anything about it, but you've at least heard the title, because I feel like The Secret History is just, it precedes the Dark Academia Secret Society book. So anyways, The Secret History is a story that follows a group of college students. So these are, students in college. So it's a college book as well. And they're really influenced by this classics professor they have to explore some ritual. To be honest, I can't remember the ritual's name, but some woo-woo kind of thing. And their experiments as they go on this ritual lead to the murder of a local farmer. Now they try to cover it up, right? Which they do. But then the group, because again, this is a group of students, the group starts to get a bit fragile. It's the dynamic shifts when this happens. And then we see one member of the group kind of really start to unravel, having to just live life and deal with the weight of the secret. So we end up seeing that person dying. So we see just all of this unraveling, and the story is told from the point of view of a student who, chronicles, I guess, the whole happenings of all the events that led up to that one person dying, that local farmer, and then the subsequent cover up and, all that stuff. So anyways, again, this is the OG campus novel, dark academia, secret society kind of vibe. Because we really see it dive deep into, the manipulation, the psychology of, like students, and how people end up in, being super paranoid, and the hysteria that follows, but also like just the consequences of one's actions. So this is definitely up your dark academia rabbit hole. But yeah, I recommend The Secret History by Donna Tartt, just because it's good to read the book everyone's talking about, to have a baseline for the genre, I feel. Okay, the next book is The Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Now, first and foremost, this is book one in a series. So the series is called the Alex Stern series. And side note, while this is book one, I wholeheartedly endorse book two. Book two is called Hellbent, but today we're just talking about book one, The Ninth House. So this one revolves around a Yale secret society. So like I said, I'm going deep into secret societies. This one in particular has some supernatural secrets involved. So in this book, you can expect fantasy, meets murder mystery and, the whole academia life, the whole academia setting. So the story follows this one person, Alex, who's a high school dropout, who was also a former drug dealer, who ends up getting into Yale because she has like these unique abilities to kind of see things and see ghosts and stuff like that. So she gets recruited by this dean to help with this society he has going on. But she also oversees like the rituals of other societies, and some of them even wield magic and stuff like that. So we see Alex kind of trying to fit into this new world and having to navigate it, again, remember, she sees things and ghosts, but there's also like murder and corruption in there. And because it's set at Yale, I felt like it reflected like the high pressure, what I would imagine, because I didn't go to Ivy League college, but what I would, kind of perceive as a high pressure environment, being in these schools. So anyways, so I think it highlights the pressure of being in a high level elitist academic setting, but we also get the magic. Like I said, we also get the fantasy. We get the anxieties of, just being involved. But I just think it's really compelling and immersive. So if you're looking for like those hidden worlds, again, secret society, I think Ninth House is a great read. Now, the next book I'm recommending is a new book. So this is new. So while, my previous recommendations, they've been out for some while, this is a 2024 release. And the book I'm recommending is Society of Lies by Lauren Ling Brown. Now, this one, again, another Ivy League society. It's clear, these institutions of higher education, elite universities seem to be like the breeding ground for secret societies. So again, we see like this Ivy League group, and, very secretive, very privileged world. And we follow our main character, who's an art dealer, and we see her investigating her sister's mysterious death that happened at Princeton. So this one set at Princeton, the other one was Yale. And we get a dual timeline kind of narrative into her sister's last months at school. We also get Maya, who's our main character. We kind of get her college experience as well. And we just see a whole bunch of dark secrets kind of being uncovered within, these elite circles in these Ivy League universities. Now, I think what I appreciated about this one is just the atmospheric, the descriptions of like campus life and the power dynamics within these, again, prestigious institutions. So, so if you're looking for like a more mystery driven book, but again, great atmospheric setting, then I think Society of Lies by Lauren Ling Brown is a good read. Okay. It wouldn't be me if I didn't give you a classic. So the classic is my girl, Agatha Christie, and I'm recommending The Seven Dials Mystery. Now, this gives you secret society vibes as well. It's a little different, I would say, from what we're used to with Christie. But this one revolves around a murder investigation, typical Christie. So the setting is typical. So it's a murder investigation set in this really fancy house. I think it's called the Chimneys. And we see like a guest. So this fancy home, we have guests staying there. We have the family of the house, but then we have guests. And then we see a guest die with some prank that involves alarm clocks, which is why you have a clock on the cover. And this guest is found dead. And then the plot kind of thickens as we see more deaths starting to occur. So, of course, you're going to have someone in the story trying to figure out what's happening. But how the whole secret society bit comes in this Agatha Christie is that as more deaths are happening and investigations are occurring, we discover a secret society that's actually called the Seven Dials Club, which is why the book is called The Seven Dials Mystery. Now, this is kind of tied to this mysterious gang. And, there's some espionage involved, some theft of some valuable things to do with clocks, like, the science behind it and stuff like that. So anyways, in typical Christie style, we see the story unfold with twist and, who the true identities of the people are, the motives and all these things. So of course, and we get a dramatic ending as typically Christie will give us. So this is a good one if you're looking for a classic, more mystery leaning. Of course, you have some espionage. And again, the Seven Dials Club is, at the center. So it's like a secret society, if that makes sense. All right. The next book on my list is The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. I have to say, I love Ashley Winstead. I read all her books, including the thrillers like this one and her romance as well, because she writes both. But I'm recommending The Last Housewife for secret society book set at college kind of vibe, even though this one isn't exactly set at college in the present day, but we do get the college vibe coming through. So in The Last Housewife, which by the way, I listened to this one on audio back when it came out, highly recommend the audio. I binged the audio. All right, so anyway, The Last Housewife is a thriller. It's kind of dark and it's set post-college life. So we see our main character, I think her name is Shay, right? And during her college years, we see that she got entangled with this man, which led her and her friends into a cult, right? So this is one of them cultish books. So, I guess that's a secret society, the cult. But anyway, we see her years later as she has, rebuilt her life. She has this new life for herself. She's married and everything. But she discovers, because she listens to true crime podcasts, and she discovers through that podcast that one of her friends that she was friends with in college, who ended up in that cult, had passed away. So she kind of has a feeling that the cult's influence is still very much involved, right? So we see Shay kind of go back to the college and the town and everything to kind of uncover what has been happening and what's going on. So again, this is the post-college years, but we see Shay revisiting her college years. So you get the college book, but we get the secret society, which is what they got, wrapped up in, which we see, how they're operating present day, because again, her friend died. So we get the power imbalances, just experiences during the formative years of college, but also just how seductive and dangerous these cults can be. And, just these, again, secret societies. So it's a really gripping read. Again, I endorse the audio because I actually listened to this one on audio. Okay, my last book is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. Now, Erin Morgenstern is also an author. I will read anything that comes out. I absolutely adore The Night Circus, which, that was her first book. And then The Starless Sea was her second book. Loved this one down. It was so good. So in The Starless Sea, we meet our main character called Zachary. He's a graduate student. So, again, post-college years. However, he discovers this really mysterious book in a library. And just hold on, let me pause for a second. Just think about this. You discover a book in the library and you start reading it, and the book is telling you about your life story. I mean, that's scare, no? So that's what happened. And he's kind of like perplexed at first, and he was like, this is a bit uneasy and funny. So anyways, he decides to kind of go out and learn more about, where did this book come from? How did it get like this specific story about his childhood? And what happens is he ends up going on this really insane journey that was, again, he's trying to find out about the book and how it had this story, to him ending up having to kind of like almost save the world kind of vibes. More like, just restoring the balance more than anything. So we see him following clues. And I mean, the clues could be things like, keys, eyes, gold, all kinds of things. I don't remember. But he ends up in this secret world beneath the earth, beneath the world. There's like ancient libraries, lost cities, and the mystical sea, the Starless Sea. So we see him like having to, figure out clues, riddles, fables, myths. We see him meet intriguing characters along the way, including other travelers, right? There's this owl king. I think there are even pirates. But everything is happening, beneath the earth, on the shores of the Starless Sea. So this is a great secret society book because, again, it has like a secret society involved with a whole book thing. He gets on this trail and he discovers this society that's existed forever. But also you get the mysterious wells, the hidden societies. Of course, there's a backdrop of kind of dark academia as well. But this one has magic and, hidden realms. And it's just really, really fun. So, so my last one is The Starless Sea. So, Laura, tell me, have you read like any of these? I mean, okay, so we had let me go back to the beginning. So we had The Secret History, we had Ninth House, we had Society of Lies, The Seven Dials Mystery by Agatha Christie, The Last Housewife, and The Starless Sea. Those are my secret society books. Have you read any of them? Did any catch your interest?
So we're going to chat about Ninth House and opinion that for a little bit later, but I did listen to The Last Housewife, and I agree. The audio is excellent for sure. And I was telling you that I coveted the Starless Sea art, like when it was coming out. And I actually had it in my hands and I got it and all the fun stuff, and I have not read it. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, it's been 5 years, like literally 5 years. So I am bumping that one up. And I heard plenty about the Secret Society, this Donna Tartt's The Secret History, but I'm intimidated by it. For some reason, I'm just like, is this going to be too literary fiction for me? But, everyone has been raving about it, so maybe I should give it a try.
Okay, knowing you, I will say maybe it is too literary fiction. So this is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I agree, it's a bit literary. I would instead recommend that you do go down the Starless Sea rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Because I think it's more fun. It has the adventure that's really propelling it. Every minute, there's something else. And I think this is more propulsive read. I think The Secret History has to be one when you're like, okay, I'm just going to read it for reading its sake, come what may. And we're going into the winter, y'all. So
yeah.
Escapism is what I know some people might be looking for. Yeah. So I get the intimidation with The Secret History. But yes, friends, if you are watching us live, let me know what you think about. These are my recommendations for secret society books. Again, The Secret History, Ninth House, Society of Lies, The Seven Dials Mystery, The Last Housewife, and The Starless Sea. If you've read any of these, let me know in the comments. If you have recommendations of secret society books that you absolutely love, we'd love to hear from you. So again, replay crew, if you're not, if you're watching the replays of this, we'd also love to hear from you as well. So so that's it. Laura, let's do your recommendations and then we'll share what Francesca has with us at the end.
Awesome. So I ended up focusing on, we're going to talk a little bit about secret society, but the reality is I focus on Greek life, which is the other secret society that most universities have. Not all of them, but most of them do. So a little bit of background. I think I shared about this last week. I used to work at college. I've done pretty much everything student affairs in a college except residence life. However, for a stint of 6 weeks, I was a house mom at a sorority house. I'm also a member of a sorority, so it's a different ballgame than the regular Pan-Hellenic sorority. So I'm pretty knowledgeable about the Greek life. And back in my 20s, I was like consuming anything Greek life because I wanted to know, did they get it right? Did they get it wrong? What does it mean? What are the stereotypes? And all the fun stuff. So I got a little bit of everything for Greek life purpose, but the first 2 are thrillers. So Zetas Till We Die. I just got this arc, so I've not read it. I'm not sure if this is a historical Black sorority. I think it is. I think it is. But it's similar to the vein of the sorority murder, which we'll talk about afterwards. But essentially, one sister dies. 10 years later, the sorority sisters meet up to have a connection to remember her sister. And the guy who's supposed to kill the sister actually was released from prison. And then at the reunion, one of the sisters disappears. And it gets to the rest. So it's supposed to be like an interesting like murder mystery, like thriller moving around with sororities and like alumni sorority, which is a little different because the idea of the Greek sororities is that you're a sister for life. You're not just like one time and that's it. You just like you can be adaptive and stuff like that. You're always going to be a sister. Um, as part of Greek life, what happens is like you become interested and you become initiated. You learn about the rituals and secrets and like what does everything mean. It's very like some stuff is like very dumb, but some stuff is like very meaningful. Like the history about the sorority and all these different things. So you're always going to be a sister, and so you have this idea of like you connection beyond the red years. So I'm interested to read this book. It's bumping it up. I'm actually excited for it for what to come. So that's Save Us Till We Die, and I think it comes out this fall. So the next book is The Sorority Murder, which is what this book is, the previous book is being compared to. It's another about a dead sorority sister. So I'm like, they're killing the sorority sisters. So maybe it's a deadly thing. And a guy who's obsessed with this murder finds extra evidence. And then he went to the detectives. So it's like, hey, I found evidence from the medical examiner. Like, you should open this murder. And they were like, no, we're not going to do this. So he decided to start a podcast about it, and more will be revealed. Like it's getting to know the sorority murder, getting the podcast True Crime vibe, and trying to solve what happened to the sorority sister. So that's the sorority murder. So if you like some thrillers, these are two Greek life thrillers. Now, if you've been watching TikTok for the past 4 years, you're probably aware of Alabama Rush Talk of like, OTTV days and like what they had to work for Bid Day, what they had to work for like, I don't know, like Craft Night and all these different things. So the next book is Rush by Lisa Patton. It's a women's fiction, just commercial fiction about a sorority in Ole Miss. So it's a Southern sorority, which is like the whole ball game. You cannot compare each sorority from the stuff, but this is a whole about the rush crew, which is rush is basically the week before school starts or week before you actually become initiated, you rush. You go to different houses or to different sororities. Some sororities may have houses, some sororities may have like just a meeting room. But the group of people, you'll get to meet with them, you get to connect with them, you get to figure out like, are we a good match? Is it not just you deciding if they're a good match? You also have to decide if you're a good match for them. Are you the fitting away? So that's why it's interesting watching Rush Talk, because you're like, did she get the bed that she wanted? Did she fit that house? Because there's a lot of stereotypes. We'll talk about that later on. So Rush is about Ole Miss, similar to Rush Talk. Basically, there's a whole ball game of that week, and it features a freshman who's going through the Rush period, an alumni who is actually working the Rush board because alumni are heavily involved again, so it's sister for life, and a housekeeper who was passed on for a promotion. And there's like intrigue. There's like girls are going to rebel against the alumni and what to come. So if you like, if you like some Southern fiction, Rush might be for you. All right, the next is another book called Rush, but it's a very different Rush. So this one is more like the show Greek that happened in the aughts, where it's basically Gossip Girl, like college Gossip Girl. Essentially, it's a group of fraternities and sorority members, freshmen, juniors, seniors, who are just trying to live in Greek life. And so this is more of like the steamy, spicy, kind of like easy to consume, very addictive romance novel. It's available in Kindle Unlimited. It's done in it's more a soap opera style. So there's a bunch of vignettes of different points of view of different members, and you just follow their story as it goes. It's kind of like a TV show. So this is Rush. There's 5 books in the series, so it follows every year for I think 4 or 5 years of the school. So it's a fun series is complete. So if you like the show Greek, then this book is for you. Okay, we're gonna now go into the nonfiction. Because it's also like, is it really the truth? When you're talking about Greek life, it's the same thing that you're talking about. So the next one is Pledge by Alexander Robbins. This is from I think this came in the aughts, because I remember reading this and I was like, is this really true? This is what happens. even though I was working on it. So it's actually Alexander Robbins spent about a year living in the sorority house with or sororities, and um, I don't know if you remember, but back in the 2003, 2004, MTV had a show called Sorority Girl. Basically, it was like you spent a whole semester with these girls and like whether they're rushing initiation and becoming a sister. And it was fascinating. So this was like this is the type of media the arts were providing us. And so Alexandra basically showed up like, there's racism, there's like, eating disorders, there's drug use, all the negative things about Rush. And why do you want to be in a sorority? Like, what's the whole point? And I would say, like, yes, that exists. Yes, those stereotypes are there. They do exist. But there's also the fact, the sense of belonging, the sense of community, the sense of like wanting to be part of something bigger, the networking opportunities. So that's one thing to look for. So this is mainly for Panhellenic sororities. So they're the mainstream sororities. So they would typically see the Bevel Rothschild. This book is a nonfiction from them from the early odds. So take it with a grain of salt. I don't know. Things may have changed. Things may have progressed. It's been almost 20 years. But sometimes it would be the same. If we consume media, we understand. So, but that's Pledge. It's by Alexander Robbins. Now we're gonna talk about the Divine Nine because that's actually like there's other sororities, and that's historically Black fraternity sororities. There's 9 organizations called the Divine Nine. And then there's organizations that came afterwards, but the Divine Nine are the core organizations that build the community among it started historical Black colleges and universities, but then it expanded to other universities and other places, but it's just to have a sense of belonging among Black students in college, because a lot of them were first generation students, were first time going in, family did not understand what they were doing, and they needed something connections, they needed to build the network. So it's interesting to learn about the history. It's fascinating, like how each organization was founded, what was the reason, what kind of members they attract. And so this is very fitting. This is the 20th anniversary. I read it in the aughts actually, and they reprinted in 2019, so they updated. So there's new information. But it's interesting because we're actually like one of our presidential candidates is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. And so understanding the power of not only just having her attend Howard University, but the power of her being part of AKA and support that her sisterhood, 40 years later, is still providing her. It's explained in this book. I think it's like one of those books that gives you an idea. There's definitely media that can tell you about the different stereotypes, different things, expectations. The organization that I'm part of, it's the first Latino sorority. And so a lot of our core values were replicated from the Divine Nine. One thing is different from the mainstream organizations and the Divine Nine or the multiple organizations is that there's a strong need for service. And while the mainstream organizations are philanthropy, which means fundraising, getting money, doing their stuff, the Divine Nine and a lot of their like the multicultural organizations that I advise were actually looking at community service, giving back to the community, connecting among each other with the community, providing a place of support, a place of growth, and a place of just putting yourself forward. And so it's different. There's also Sisterhood for Life. There's also in Divine Nine and organizations. There's alumni chapters. Like I joined as an adult. I did not join in the collegiate experience. I joined when I was 25, which was pretty normal. But if you think about it, the reason why I joined an organization at 25 was that I just moved to a new city. I was in my young 20s, and I was like, I want to give back to the community, but I also want to make friends who are like me or who have similar interests and similar values. And so it pushed me to join. And yes, I went through a new initiation process. It was like 8 weeks of like learning about history, learning about like a lot of information. But it connected me with sisters that I still talk to 20 years later. I've been a sister for 18 years. So It's just part of it. It was still like, it still provides you a sense of networking. So that's a little spiel about Greek life. And so if you have any questions, put it in the comments. If you have any specific things or specific media that you're like, this is story time or not, just put it in the comments. I'll reply back. So now we're going to go to the secret societies because I do have two recommendations. So Secret Society Girl is out of print. I hate to say this, if you're a physical book reader, I am so sorry, but the book is out of print. This book is from 2004, 2005. The book is available on Kindle. The book is also available on the library. Some libraries have bought it. So there's 4 books in the series, and it's essentially, I read this as a physical book from the subway. I remember finding it on Barnes Noble's table and be like, oh, this looks cute. And I'm like, I'm interested in college. I was not a romance reader at the time, but there's some romance, there's some intrigue, there's some college. It's similar to Rush in that sense of like just kind of like just the regular college experience. So in this one follows a junior at an Ivy League school, also known as Yale, but they changed the name because for purposes. And so she's basically was selected as the first woman into the secret society. And she's like, what is happening? And we're just spend like about 4 books for this junior and senior year every semester. We spend to get to know her as she finds out more about the secret society, about her role in the secret society, and what she figures out what she's going to do after college. Like because this is just a very small time period of time. But this is just a fun series. The books are fun. There's a spring break book. So if you want to feel like you go back to the early aughts of college, if you're a millennial, you're like, I'm going to go back to my college years. This book is for you. If you're a Gen Z who's curious about millennial lifestyle, this is a book for you. So this is like, it's out of print, but it's available on Kindle. So that's my plug for the Secret Society Girl. And then the final book that I want to talk about is Ninth House. I have not read Hellbent. I read Ninth House as like my last physical book that I read because I read an arc in 2019. I have not read a physical book ever since, so this is like a very special book for me. But again, Victoria explaining what Ninth House is. It's basically secret society, Yale, fantasy. It has all the elements, and it's just a good time. Check the trigger warnings. There are some real trigger warnings here, but it's a pretty good time overall. So those are my recommendations. Victoria, do you have any feedback?
So yes, I have tons. I mean, first of all, I found the whole Rush thing very interesting, especially like a Southern Rush. So this one by Lisa Patton kind of really caught my attention. I mean, I live in Florida, so we're south. So I was very intrigued to kind of learn more about just Rush life. I don't know anything about sororities or anything like that, so I don't have I have zero reference point, but that caught my attention. But I also wanted to mention Zeta's Till We Die. I know Amber and Danielle Brown. I read a book of theirs and now I'm blanking on it. Oh, Perfect Little Lives. That was kind of like a very fun suburban kind of thriller. So I'm very interested in this one. And I would assume it's Zeta. The Zetas are probably one of the Black sororities. So that was interesting. And then, of course, a nonfiction. I haven't read a good nonfiction in a while. And I know nothing. I know because of Kamala Harris, people have been talking about like Divine Nine, and the fact that she's an AKA. So I'm like, okay, all right. Because I know some book content creators, specifically on Instagram, who are also like AKAs, have been kind of, hyping. And I'm like, okay, I guess, you even sharing that, your sister's still, your sister's forever kind of vibes. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm seeing it because I'm telling you, I'm following people like, my age group. So, these are like people in their 40s and their 50s. And I'm like, oh, right. They still get together. They still they'll do like brunches and meetups and both from like the serious to the fun. So, that's interesting. And Hellbent is good. It also has kind of like, trigger warnings for Lee Bardugo fans. But if you haven't, I do recommend Ninth House. I love both. Actually, I just love, I think the books I've read by her, because another recent one she had was Familiaris, and I read and enjoyed that one too. So I guess you could say I've been on a more recent Lee Bardugo kick. But yeah, hey, if you have questions about sororities, Laura is your girl. She seems to know quite a bit about a bit. If you also have sorority book recommendations, I really would love to hear from you. So whether you're watching live, replay crew, yeah, share the recommendations in the comments. Again, love, love, love to hear from you. Okay, so like I mentioned at the top of the show, or if you're just joining us, you have Laura and I here today. We're missing Francesca, but we also got a Francesca update. So Francesca shared from her blog page. She said she's watching from the airport. She got a 6-hour delay because the plane is broken. Friend, we are so sorry that you're stuck in the airport. We really, really, really are. I hope, look, here's the thing. Sometimes when I say like delays are good things, it's redirecting things. So you know what? I think you had some books. I know she had a list of books that she packed for vacation. I think that's going to be on the Substack. So if you haven't already, join the Under the Covers book blog Substack community. I know she had some vacation reads that she's taking with her. So yeah, if you want to stay updated with her, be sure to subscribe to the Substack. She said it's Mercury retrograde. Facts. So I was watching someone else's YouTube. Ooh, who was I watching? And they mentioned, don't sign any contracts during this time. If you're having communication problems, it's expected because Mercury is in retrograde. So if you're out there and you've been having a tough time, it's probably that. It's the planets, the balance, everything is just off.
Well, before I was in this call, I joined an energy reading because I'm Woo Woo and I like my tarot readings. And so we're doing the Virgo setting intention, and they were like, basically, we are still dealing with a lot of anxiety, a lot of like pushing, pushing, pushing. And essentially, the message was surrender. Like, don't sign contracts, don't do things, just surrender. Ease your way to Virgo because we're just shifting. We just have the full moon, we have Mercury, we have it's a lot, and so we just have to just ease our way to the day.
Yeah.
Make your life more enjoyable, make your life more pleasurable, like have fun. Not do it because you have to. Just do it because of the vibes. Go on vibes only, guys. Kind of Jordy.
And vibes only is actually really, really, really good. So yeah, I will say though that blue moon was pretty, but chaos. Okay. Chaos. It was pretty, but chaos. Okay, it is fitting that Francesca is here. So because if you have any questions, you can pop them in the comments because she did a pre-recorded video. This is how you know our girl is dedicated to the situation. She did a pre-recorded video that I'm going to share with you now with her book recommendations about books about college and secret societies. So again, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. She just might, catch you and respond.
Hey guys, it's Francesca. I am actually traveling today, so I will not be able to join you guys live, but I still wanted to make sure that I gave you my recommendations for our topic of the day, which is secret society and college books. And I really enjoy reading college set books, although I haven't read as many secret societies. So I only have 2 secret societies to recommend to you guys, and the rest of them are just college books. They're also a little bit of a variety, which you guys know that I really enjoy bringing you guys a variety of books and kind of topics and things that are maybe a little underappreciated and you may not hear about them everywhere. So let's get right to the recommendations. The first book that I'm going to recommend to you guys is Smut by Karina Haley. This is a standalone enemies to lovers romantic comedy set in college. It just recently got a revamp with this really adorable cover, so I had to put it on here just because of that. It was fresh in my mind after seeing the revamped cover reveal last week, and it is available on Kindle Unlimited. I read this book years ago, and it's basically about 2 aspiring authors that are in college. They hate each other, and they're assigned a project to write a final project together. And they do so well at writing this final project together that they decide to write an erotic romance book together and self-publish it under a pen name. as they're working on this project together, all of their own sexual tension really amps up, and it also translates into the romance that they're writing. Erotic romance is definitely not the genre that either one of them were interested in writing originally, and there was a slight little bit of them thinking, or the mentality of them thinking, that they were kind of lowering themselves to writing a genre like this that is not normally what they would gravitate towards. It does have that connotation that they're not really writing, so it's not like real writing. The heroine was actually writing a fantasy novel, so there is a little bit of that preconceived idea of what an erotic romance means in terms of quality of writing, which is a stigma that it is fought by romance authors, romance readers, and the romance publishing industry at large. But overall, you can go into this book really expecting a fun and enjoyable read. The two of the main characters have such amazing chemistry, both having to work together or also just getting to know each other more as they're working together. And the sexual tension is just jumping off of the pages. But they also get to help each other deal with some more serious issues in their lives, like dealing with their families. So all around, this was a really cute, adorable, sweet read, just a little bit spicy, and a great romantic comedy. The next book is actually a secret society romance book, and it's Half Truths by Claire Contreras. This is actually a series, really. I've also read book 2, but you can definitely read the first book as a standalone, and it follows the heroine, who is a journalism student, and she was going to a different college, but her closest brother suffered a major accident, and on her senior year, she moves to be closer to family and starts at a new college. Her family really wanted her to go to this college anyway, and the reason she didn't and she went somewhere else was because she was following her boyfriend, and they've since broken up. And now, because she is a journalism student, she is really interested in the stories of these young women that have gone missing. They're disappearing from the college, especially the latest victim, because she knew her basically from her high school days, and she is determined to find out what happened to her and how the secret society of the school has been involved. As you can expect with a secret society story, there is plenty of mystery and intrigue in this story. And I have to say, I probably have read way too much mystery and thrillers. It was not the biggest twist for me when it's revealed what happens in the end of the story, but that still didn't take anything away from it. I really enjoyed it. It is a very suspenseful read, just deliciously addictive. You just don't want to put it down. And it really takes that hint of danger and twists it in with the romance. And I think the author did that really well. And Half Truths is also available on Kindle Unlimited. The next one is The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. This is the first in the Campus Diary series. It's a spin-off of the Off-Campus series, and it is a second generation from that series. So the heroine in this book is actually the daughter of the couple, I think in book 2 or 3, if I remember correctly, from the Off-Campus. And I absolutely loved her parents. So it was a real treat to actually get to see the romance of the next generation, and also getting to see those glimpses into the off-campus characters, not only the couple that are the parents of our heroine, but also some of the extended characters from the other books as well. So if you are a fan of the off-campus series, then definitely go into the next generation and read this one. And here we have a sports-themed college romance, and both of our main characters are hockey players, which I really appreciated because we don't really get to see the heroine being the athlete as much. And not just that, but a hockey player. So I really appreciated that the main setup of how they start talking to each other is actually that he's helping her with her game. So I really like the dynamic and seeing her more than just a Nepo baby, basically, that had gotten on the team because of who her father was. So I could really appreciate the sports elements in this book a lot, and also them kind of having to find their footing. It is a very good coming of age story. Both of our main characters have plenty of things to go through. Our hero has a very tortured past that he has to also overcome, a lot of hang-ups. And obviously our heroine is just really trying to prove herself in her sport and kind of get out from under the shadow of her father. This is also a really steamy book and lighthearted and fun in a lot of ways, with plenty of sexual tension for days. Also, it is available on Kindle Unlimited. The next one is another secret society story. And this one is not a romance, but it does have that fantasy or magical element. So it is going to be my paranormal pick for the day. And it's Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. It's the first in the Alex Stern series. And Alex is our main character, our heroine, and she's 20 years old. She was raised in Los Angeles by this hippie mom. She dropped out of school early, and then she's had this slew of drug dealer boyfriends and just really hasn't been doing the best with her life until she ends up being the only survivor of a horrific unsolved homicide. While in the hospital, she is visited by this mysterious benefactor who offers her a second chance at life and a full ride to attend Yale. And her mission is basically to get information on the Yale secret society. She's left wondering why her and what is the catch, but she still follows through with what she needs to do, and she starts investigating and gathering information on these secret societies, and it turns out a lot more complicated than she was even imagining, because they're basically magical secret societies at Ivy League colleges. It's a story with power and intrigue and Ivy League elites and dark magic. I will warn you though that it is a slow-paced story, but it's very atmospheric and it does have very eerie vibes, mixing in perfectly that magic and intrigue allure of that underworld of the secret societies. And the last book that I have for you here is Brightside by Kim Holden. I'm gonna put out a full disclaimer here. This is going to be a tearjerker, so be prepared for when you want something really emotional that's going to tug at your heartstrings. It is such an amazing book. I absolutely loved it. And Brightside is basically our heroine, Katie. Katie is originally from California, but she ends up going to college in Minnesota. And when she gets there, she basically has to build a new life. She has to try to find a job and make new friends. She doesn't really know anybody in this new town. But as her friend from back home, Gus, always likes to call her Brightside, she immediately has a group of friends that absolutely adore her. She's so lovable. She's so positive. She just has an attitude of wanting to live life to the fullest, no regrets, and just have fun. And she's basically teaching that to anyone that she comes in contact with. And as she starts college, she's also starting to develop a romance and a relationship with this boy, Keller, who also has his own troubled past and secrets. But in the back of my mind, I still had her friend from back home, Gus. So there is a little bit of a love triangle going on. But rest assured, this is going to be just such a thought-provoking story. I think that everybody should read it. Just with the caveat that it will probably leave you a snotty crying mess at 3 o'clock in the morning, because that's what happened to me. I was actually sobbing so much. I ended up waking up my husband when I read this book, but I loved every second of it. It's a devastatingly beautiful and good story. So I hope that you pick it up. If you do, let me know when you need a hug. It is definitely a book that will also make you reflect on your own life experiences and appreciate those little moments in life even more. And those are my picks for this week for secret societies and college books. I hope that you guys pick up some of these books, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next novel nights. If I can't make it live because of the time difference, I'll be sure to send in some more recommendations. And now I'm just going to leave you with Laura and Victoria. Have fun.
Oh, I love that. I didn't watch the whole thing when she sent me the video. I just watched the beginning. I'm like, okay, cool. I uploaded it and I was like, okay, let's check it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Oh. So like we said at the top, Francesca is traveling. She is going to be like 7 hours difference where she's off to. But like I said, you know, subscribe to her Substack under the covers community on Substack, and you'll get updates on what she's doing, what books she packed with her, even though she's currently in the airport on a delay because she sent us a little message. So if you're just joining us, that's the reason why Francesca isn't with us live, and she's blaming it on Mercury retrograde. But I have to say, we three never share the books that we're going to come on here and talk about. Never. We curate our list and then we just hop on. And sometimes we'll say, oh, yeah, I was thinking of that, or so on. Because Laura recommended a book last week. I was like this close to adding it, and I was like, one less book. And this week, we all three all three of us shared Ninth House by Lee Bardugo. I mean, what are the odds? We've never had an overlap, right? But then this week, all three of us share this one book.
A three-way tie, because I was like, oh, we did not share our books. I sometimes share with Francesca because we may have some overlaps, so we try to avoid it. But I did not share I think I shared my books with Francesca, but I don't think we all knew what we were going to pick, and we just picked the same book. And we all have different history with the book and different ways to describe the book. So now you know which is the book.
There you go. I mean, that's one book you for sure will not be going in blind with, because I gave my take, Laura gave her take, and Francesca gave her take. So yeah, I found that super interesting. I have to say that last one that she was selling, that is a tearjerker. I mean, look, I'm not a crier, I have to admit, but I was like, man, maybe that would make me cry, because the fact that Francesca was crying, I'm like, okay, maybe. So that was interesting. But yeah, again, if you're watching us live, but also replay crew, let us know in the comments about your favorite books about college, but also secret society books as well. If you're looking for campus novels, we did a campus novel themed novel night. Francesca was here with us. So you also got recommendations from her as well. So yeah, we're really in that back to school vibe and spirit, and we will be continuing that the next novel nights. Now, okay, full disclaimer, let me get my phone because sometimes I can't remember what the day of the week is. So today's the 22nd. We will not have novel nights next week on the 29th. Laura is traveling next week. And again, Francesca has that huge time difference. And to be honest, you know, I wanted to enjoy her holiday. So that's that. I'm also knee deep in fall reading guide. So I would be lying if I didn't say having next week off is helpful. So, you know, we have fall reading guides coming your way, even from Laura as well. And I know Francesca is going to have an insider. So you have lots of guides to look forward to. But we want to share our upcoming show calendar with you. So even though we're not meeting next week, the 29th, we're coming back September 5th. So for us in the South, we are in week 2 of school, but I know folks in other parts of the country, they're starting in September. So we're having back to school Kindle edition, right? Laura will be leading this one because I like to call her the Kindle Queen. I'm coming with some recommendations too. So will Francesca, but just to let you know, that's what we're doing. On the 12th, we'll be talking about our respective guides. I have a big fall reading guide that I drop with all the best new books that I'm recommending you pick up this season, because I read them in advance, so you don't have to. So definitely tune in for that. And then the following week, we're going to be doing romantic thrillers. So those are our next 3 shows. Again, we are not having a show next week on the 29th. We are on break. But again, this is why you should subscribe to our channels. Hit the notification bells so you're the first to know what's new and when we go live. Did I forget anything? Are we missing anything? Anything else we want to cover? No? Well, everyone, again, I hope you enjoyed this week's novel nights. Let us know in the comments your favorite college books and secret societies. And again, you know, like this video, share this video, tell a friend to come join us at Novel Nights. We have this whole year planned. We have topics and themes planned galore. We just share a little bit with you, a little as we go along. But again, we have some exciting things planned, and I hope you'll join us. So until next time, bye.